Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time Thursday night edition. Hope everybody is doing right, feeling well, and living right on this Thursday. Derrick Henry is officially the AFC's Offensive Player of the Month. I am not here to slander King Henry. I am not here to disparage his good name. I am simply here to make the case against him as AFC Offensive Player of the Month. You guys are going to get pissed. We're going to have a good conversation. Hopefully, it can be civil here on A to Z Sports Prime Time. We have a lot to discuss. We will talk about the tackle troubles. Nobody in trouble specifically, but something concerning that came up on the injury report today that I think is worth discussing at the tackle position and some transactions that were made. We'll get to that later on in the show. And of course, it's a Thursday. It's our last show of the week. It is this, the way we do things on Thursday is this is a free site, the best thing that I saw on the internet. And I can promise you that it's going to give you a laugh. Before we get going here on Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope, all of these great platforms, Twitch TV, we got you. We want you guys to share the show. We want to have a bigger conversation because a lot of you are going to feel some type of way about me talking about your boy, Derrick Henry, tonight. And I want to make sure that everybody understands I am as big a Derrick Henry fan, his style of play, as there is. But I do believe that this man has been slightly overrated in his performance this month, and specifically as it relates to another player in the AFC. We'll talk about that over the course of the night show, and I want more of you to be able to participate in that conversation. So, Periscope, you know how this is done. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen, if you would be so kind. Go ahead and retweet the show to all of your Periscope people, your Twitter followers. We'd love to see more of them here in the broadcast tonight. Go ahead and retweet the show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. YouTube, Twitch TV, we love to see you guys as well. We're happy to be able to bring prime time to YouTube and Twitch TV on a regular basis now. Invite your friends via those platforms. Facebook Live, it's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. You want to share, you share now to public. Hell, I'll do that now on Facebook Live as we sit here getting ready to kick things off. Share now to public. I'll do it on my phone. It's a little easier here on A to Z Sports Prime Time. Seth Clark says, blasphemy, Buck. King him. We will talk about Derrick Henry specifically now that more of you guys are here. Robert Deersfish says, I don't need a magnifying glass to see you. Buck is back, says Brett Erad. Listen, I never left. We got a lot to discuss. And now that more of you are here, we can involve you in the conversation because we're going to start the show. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Thursday. I'm your host, Buck Rising, proud as always to be presented to you by our friends at Two Rivers Ford, the best automobile buying experience in Middle Tennessee, as good as it comes in the industry. Award-winning, as a matter of fact. Shout out to John Barker of Two Rivers Ford for winning the Tennessee Time Dealer of the Year. You love to see it. And you love to go out and visit them at the dealership just east of Mount Juliet at Two Rivers Ford or online at tworiversford.com. Tame the Beast reminds you to groom boldly with great products like their Beast Beard Brush. You can get one that I use for my facial hair, not a used one, but you got to get a new one for your own beard using the promo code BEAST2020. It saves you 20% off on all of their fine grooming products at getbeast.com. Of course, you know Tennessee Heating and Cooling want to keep you in your comfort zone as we transition from fall to winter. We're getting a little closer. I get my satisfaction guaranteed on all of my HVAC needs at 10hc.com, TENNHC.com. And of course, the HVAC service provided in my dream address without the stress, courtesy of my main man, Gary Ashton, your dream address without the stress, courtesy of the official real estate agency of the Titans, Preds, Nashville SC, and Primetime, the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. All right. Nobody's here to slander Derrick Henry. I want to make that perfectly clear because you guys are lit in the comment section. You're fired up. I'm burning the candle at both ends indeed. We did podcast today. We did radio today. And now we're going to put a bow on things with the primetime show. SMDHBD Hunt on Periscope says, why though? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I think Derrick Henry is a fantastic player. Nobody is diminishing what he did against the Texans. and the stretch that he has had. Derrick Henry today, for those of you who may have missed it, and I'm sure none of you did, Derrick Henry was today nominated, or won, rather, the AFC's Offensive Player of the Month for October. In this month, Derrick Henry averaged a league-high 114.7 rushing yards per game, which is great, skewed by the Texans, but nonetheless, totaled an AFC-high 344 yards on 61 attempts. His 5 rushing touchdowns in October led the conference and are tied for the NFL lead. He's really good, and nobody is going to take that away from Derrick Henry, least of all me. But I think there is a criminal underrating of one other player in this particular conference, hell, on this particular team, that deserves more notoriety and I think outperformed Derrick Henry. I don't want to say that Derrick Henry did anything wrong. Derrick Henry was great. They don't win these games without Derrick Henry. But the better performer on this team specifically is not Derrick Henry. And so that is where I take issue with Derrick Henry as the Offensive Player of the Month. For what, says Chris Frazier? Because I've just laid it out. You in Cincy this weekend, says Mater V? No, I'm not traveling. This will probably be the last game that I don't travel for, B-Love. I will be in Baltimore, in Green Bay, in Indy, hopefully Jacksonville, and Houston as well. It's been a while since they've been on hell. The last time they went on a road trip, they all got the Rona. So hopefully nothing like that happens. But I know V-Love's going to be there. So if you want to tailgate, hit up my man Mater V 615 on the Twitters. Is Dennis Kelly hurt, says Will Dotson Jr.? Yes, he did not practice for the second time today, but that's for the next segment. Your Two Rivers Ford take here on a Thursday night. How would you rate Titans running back Derrick Henry's performance through 6 games? Not just for the month of October. Is he overachieving, underperforming, or has he lived up to the hype? Your Two Rivers Ford take here on a Thursday night. Tell me how you feel about the King, because you guys feel some type of way. You guys love this man. I understand. He is a fantastic player. I do not want to diminish anything that Derrick Henry has done. That is not my goal this evening. But I do believe that one other player on this team has been wronged, and I'll tell you here about that in just a second. Hell, you'll hear from Derrick Henry here in just a second. I want to know, though, how would you rate Titans running back Derrick Henry's performance through 6 games? Is he overachieving? Is he underperforming? Or has he lived up to the hype? Let me know in the comment section, and we will discuss together. Beard game strong, says Jacob Kime. The beast has been tamed. Listen, I can grow a pretty nice beard when the time calls for it, but I'll tell you about Tame the Beast later on in the show. Corey D. Jackson says, burning the candle on both ends. Listen, the content machine does not stop. Your boy does not stop working, certainly during the football season. For the people. We do these things for the people because we love to hang out and talk with you. By the way, not done yet. I'm not tired yet. I'm getting a little tired, but not quite tired yet. I got radio tomorrow from 1 to 3. Come hang out with us on 104.5 The Zone. Who will the Titans pick up, says Brett E. Rat? Nobody. Get out of here with the trade talk. We're not doing it tonight. Nothing will float you down the road like a Two Rivers Ford, says Brett. Yes, that's a great place to go. Buck, ask Ryan Clark about slandering the King. Proper Villain says, indeed, I understand. I'm not out here slandering Derrick Henry. In fact, again, as I mentioned, he has been exceptional. But there is another player who deserves these awards, these accolades on this team more than he does. But Derrick Henry, we talked with him today as the collective media about, what it means to win this honor, how he has stepped up, because he's doing things in the receiving game. The stats do not reflect it, but he's catching passes to convert third downs into first downs, which is huge this year. Here was Derrick Henry via Zoom with us media vultures earlier today.
Definitely heavy emphasis in our room to not only impact the game by running the ball, making plays, but other things to give guys other opportunities to make plays, and that's what you have to do as a running back is perfect your job in all types of ways, rather than just running the ball and doing those type of things. Just continue to work, continue to improve. They're going to throw me in there and make sure I do my job to perfection the best way I can, and do anything I can to help the team and take advantage of my opportunities.
How much does that kind of open up more things, not only for you, but the offense as a whole, when you can be in there on a 3rd and say 6 or 7 situation, as opposed to coming off the field like you had been a lot of times in the past?
Yeah, I mean, if it opens up opens up other guys to make plays, and I'm all for it. But like you said, usually I'm coming off the field on third down, but I've been getting opportunities this year. So like I said, just take advantage of them when I'm out there, do my job the best way I can, and help my team make plays.
Overachieving, underperforming, or living up to the hype. Derrick Henry, the AFC Offensive Player of the Month. He did a great job in the month of October through the 3 games. And again, in 13 days, I do not diminish his efforts. I'm just saying that he gets a lot more hype than the other player who I will bring up here in just a second. Your Two Rivers Ford take, proper villains I have up there on the screen. Ask Ryan Clark about slandering the king. I refuse to slander Derrick Henry. I absolutely will not slander Derrick Henry. I'm just making the case for another Tennessee Titan as the AFC Offensive Player of the Month. Weston Rohde says, I would say he's on par. I want more, but they are really selling out to beat him. L Train, I say he's inconsistent, but it's about the time of the season that he starts to take it up a notch. No, that's D. Hember, right? Ask our friend Zach Lyons from the Football and Other F Words podcast, right? D. Hember is the month for Derrick Henry, where all of these things start to come into place and everybody's tired of playing football because it's violent and everybody's getting in a car wreck on every play. And then comes this 250-pound running back running through your face mask, and it's much, much harder to stop him later in the year because you're tired and he's not. That's what makes Derrick Henry such an incredible player. 6'4", 250, and runs like an absolute gazelle. I've never seen anything like him in my life, and this is not a show meant to diminish him. I'm just making a case, or I will make a case here in just a second, for another player on the Tennessee Titans who deserves greater accolades. Doing his job like he can, says Lewis Chesney. A-. I wish he could catch the football. Well, he's not getting a lot of targets, but the targets that he does get helps keep the chains moving. OG Will Aiken chiming in on Burgergate. Go eat a double number one meal and say you're sorry to the king. No Wendy's cheeseburgers. Derrick Henry, that's the most wrong Derrick Henry's ever been, to say that no free ads, that the Wendy's number one, make it a double, is the best fast food cheeseburger in all of cheeseburger land. I absolutely refuse to admit it. I'll tell you why I think Derrick Henry has lived up to the hype, but that somebody else deserves more hype than Derrick Henry here in just a second, right after I give you a message from our good friends at Two Rivers Ford.
The Bluebird and our local music venues need your help. Two Rivers Ford and Music Venue Alliance Nashville are teaming up to make sure that no independent music venue has to close permanently due to COVID-19. Donate by purchasing this t-shirt at drivethemusicnashville.com.
Our friends, the movement being done by our friends at Two Rivers Ford. They want to keep music alive in the 615. You saw the GM of the Bluebird Cafe telling you about the movement. You saw the t-shirt. You want to go pick one up. You want to keep the music alive in the 615. You want to support local independent music venues here in Music City. You go to drivethemusicnashville.com, courtesy of our friends at Two Rivers Ford. Your Two Rivers Ford take, what is going on with Derrick Henry? Overperforming or underachieving, or living up to the hype? I think he's lived up to the hype, but I don't think that he's the best player in his own backfield. Daryl John says overachieving by his standards. He normally starts slow, which is true. Tough segment to sell, says John Doucette. No, not at all, because listen to this, John. Listen to this. Your quarterback, Derrick Henry, as the AFC Offensive Player of the Month, he wasn't even the best player in his own backfield last month. Derrick Henry is who gets the attention. Derrick Henry with the stiff arms, throwing Josh Norman onto the surface of the sun with a stiff arm like none of us have ever seen. He is a highlight machine. He's an incredible player, but Ryan Tannehill, through those same 3 games that Derrick Henry played in, was by far and away the more impressive player. This award is premature, says DeRickler. No, it's the AFC Offensive Player of the Month. There's only 1 month to go by, so it's not premature. The month is over. And they will play the next game in November. So, that's the deal. This is the AFC Offensive Player of the Month. Ryan Tannehill, during that same stretch, 9 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 interception, 69.3 completion percentage, 781 yards, 7.88 yards per attempt, and the one interception that I mentioned. Ryan Tannehill is not sexy. Ryan Tannehill, people still look at him like he's the Miami Dolphins castoff. Ryan Tannehill is the greatest reason for the Tennessee Titans having the offensive success that they do. It makes Derrick Henry's life a lot easier. Derrick Henry is a massive piece of what they do. And yet Derrick Henry is he's easier to put on SportsCenter, which honestly, you can't even make the case that easily anymore because Tannehill's balling out. Tannehill's playing at an MVP level, and yet Derrick Henry is what people gravitate towards. He is spectacular. Do not get me wrong, but he is not even the best player. During that last month, he was not even the best player in his own backfield. Ryan Tannehill is where I would have gone had I gotten a vote in the AFC Offensive Player of the Month. That's all I'm saying. It's not to take anything away from I'm trying to take the award away from Derrick Henry and give it to Tannehill because I think he deserves it. And I don't understand why people won't pay closer attention to him because the quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. He is most responsible for the heights that the Tennessee Titans are achieving. Derrick Henry, I know you guys love him. I love watching him play. He is fantastic. He's a force of nature, but none of it happens without Tannehill, and that's why I'm dying on this hill. I mean, I agree with you, says Derrickler. It should be Tannehill. Tannehill should be in contention for MVP. Everyone is daring Tanny to throw, and he's beating them, says Dom Odell. 1,000%. That's just, that's how I feel about this. Your Two Rivers Ford take here on a Thursday night. Say it, Buck, says Darrell John. You're going to hurt some people's feelings. Just mention Mariota. No, I refuse. I will absolutely, will not allow for it. John Spain Howard says give them co-offensive players of the month. If I could, I would, because they have been. I can't tell you how much I enjoy watching Tennessee Titans football now. It's night and day from when I first started doing this job for how much better they are, how much more exciting they are, how excited I am to go to work. It's no longer a slugfest, 12-9, an overtime game against the Cleveland Browns in which no touchdowns are scored. It's no longer that. It's 42-36. It's 27-24 against the Pittsburgh Steelers in a game where they come back and they make it a game. This is who they are now, and I thank the football gods every day for it. I'm just saying the quarterback deserves a great deal more credit than he is getting. Derrick Henry has lived up to the hype, but Ryan Tannehill is the greater reason for their success right now. We'll get more of your comments here on that fact, on that matter of, on that opinion here in just a second. I believe it to be factual, but you may not, and we welcome your disagreements here on A to Z Sports Prime Time right after I tell you about where you need to go to get your grooming products like hard hair clay that I use every night before I come on the show. The hair looks good. The hair looks in check. There's one stray hair that needs a little hard hair clay, it seems, but you can get hard hair clay that makes it look like I have no product in my hair. Firm hold, a matte finish that does not make it look like an oil slick went through your hair. Use the promo code BEAST2020 on any of their online inventory at getbeast.com. You'll save 20% courtesy of the A to Z Sports Media Network. We have the promo code to help you look better, smell better, feel better, because it's good stuff from the earth that's good for your skin, your scalp, and everything in between. Check them out at getbeast.com. The Mr. Goodbar says give Buck a vote. No, because obviously I would vote the opposite of many of you. I would take it away from Derrick Henry and give it to Tannehill, and then everybody would be pissed at me. Jonathan Joseph, a close second for that award. AFC Offensive Player of the Month. See, Jackie Luttrell is I don't even want to call you a volume shooter, Jackie, because the jokes hit almost every time. And there's a lot of them. You make a lot of jokes, and I recognize the creativity and the humor in it. Shout out Jackie Luttrell, because he regularly comes in here and brings the heat, which I appreciate there on A to Z Sports Prime Time. And now I can reward you guys by putting your tweets up on there if you are creative. Robert Deerfish says, Henry ain't tired yet. Well, no, we're just starting to ramp up into Derrick Henry season. And the marvel about Derrick Henry is that he never gets hurt. The dude is a cyborg at running back. He's a skyscraper at running back. You cannot stop Derrick. You literally cannot stop Derrick Henry. You can only hope to contain him. And even then, most times you can, unless you're TJ Watt and you just clown our guy Dennis Kelly in ways that were clear and obvious to everybody. Regardless, Derrick Henry had a hugely impressive October. Again, I'll read you the numbers because they are nothing to slouch out by any stretch of the imagination. He averaged a league high 114.7 yards per game on the ground, an AFC high, a conference high 344 yards on 61 attempts, 5 rushing touchdowns in October, led the conference and tied for the lead in the NFL. I'm going to do the math on that real quick. 344 yards on 61 attempts, 5.6 yards per carry. He balled out, and that Texans game is a big reason why. I still think Tannehill was better. Easy Buck, says Michael Miles, you are going to drag up the argument for who is more important to this team. You know the Ryan Tannehill makes it easy for Henry to run, and Henry makes it easy for Ryan Tannehill to pass thing. I know it's one of your guys' favorite arguments, and we'll save that for the offseason. This is not the time for first take like conversations. I'm just telling you, I think the quarterback deserves more credit. Did Gostkowski get the Ray Finkel award? It says EA Domino. No, he did not. He most certainly did not. I will be willing to bet he has an even better month before the season is up, says Titan Rick Sanchez. I don't doubt Derrick Henry by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's a fantastic player. He did good. You're late, says Chris Frazier. Who's late? I was a little late tonight, but not that late. Relax, Chris. They're both great players, Buck, and we will respect your opinion, says Easy. Well, I appreciate that. It's very diplomatic of you, Easy or Ezzy, however we pronounce your name. Regardless, I think he's great. Now let's talk about a situation that's not so great. Let's get to the tackle situation because the injury report came out today and it was a little bit concerning. We're going to talk about the Titans' issues at tackle, and I want to know, how concerned are you about that specific situation? Scale of 1 to 10 in the comment section on Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. Let me know how concerned you are, scale of 1 to 10, about the Titans' offensive tackle situation. You give me your answers. I'll give you mine. The scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, panic, everybody freak out. The ship is going straight into the iceberg, or you're not that concerned about it, and you like what you saw out of Ty Sambrailo, which you should. You should like what you saw out of Ty Sambrailo, and you say, maybe they're just giving Dennis Kelly a little bit of time to recoup. Regardless, we'll talk about that together here in a moment, right after I remind you about our friends at the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. I'm going to replace my face with Gary because that's where you got to go for your dream address without the stress. I'm going to make sure that you can hear me. This small screen does not work well for the two faces that you see in front of you. But you can see there very clearly, Gary, the billboards all over town, your dream address without the stress. That's what the Ashton team provides to you. You hit him up, he'll hook you up the same way that he did for me when I bought my first home with the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Not even just my first home through Derrick, my first home, period. It was challenging, it was daunting, and the Ashton team made it a breeze. GaryAshton.com for all of your real estate needs here in Middle Tennessee. Easy is at a 7. Donald Bell on the opposite end, a 3. Mildly concerned, DeRickler says. John Spainhoward with a 3.5. Jacoby is panicked. He says a 10. He's out of his mind. Titan Rick Sanchez is right there with him at an 11. He's off the scale. We can't get down 24/7 and expect the offense to win it. Defense WTF, says Jason Raines on YouTube. Sure, and I understand the frustrations with the defense, but the greater concern to me is that the offensive line has done really, really well in protecting Tannehill up until the Steelers game. Now, with the Steelers game, you saw what an actual pass rush could do to this Titans team, and it could really slow you down in a way that your defense gives up the yardage, gives up the third down, gives up the points to quarterbacks like Ben Roethlisberger. You can't get pressure. And then when the offense needs to mount a comeback, well, sure, they can do it. They're hugely impressive. They can make these plays, but you needed turnover luck, and you needed the kicker to make a field goal at the end to tie it up, and he couldn't do it. So you don't want to put yourself in these situations. I look at this and say, There's reason for concern because of what I saw on the injury report today. Scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about the Titans tackle situation? This is why. Because on the injury report for the Tennessee Titans today, it came out about, 3:38 is when I got the email about the Titans injury report. I'm looking here, and it said Jadeveon Clowney did not practice for the second day in a row with a knee. Dane Cruikshank, limited, the safety, had a groin injury, limited participant on Thursday after not practicing Wednesday. Nothing from Christian Fulton, nothing from Jonathan Joseph, who was sick. Dennis Kelly, for a second straight day, DMP with a knee injury. Now, you could be saying to yourself, okay, well, maybe they're doing what they're doing with AJ, and they're giving him a little more time. They're putting him on. He's got a knee issue. They're going to give him a couple extra days to get his feet back under him, for lack of a better term, heal up, and then have him ready to go for the walkthrough on Friday and then to play on Sunday. Or you could look at their transactions at the beginning of the week and see that David Quessenberry, the practice squad, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma survivor, shout out David Quessenberry, a really cool story, but an offensive lineman that's been on the Titans practice squad for a couple of years now, has been called up to the active roster. Now you would say to yourself, okay, well, that means they're looking for additional tackle depth, but Isaiah Wilson is not going to be the guy. If something happens to Dennis Kelly, well, it looks like it's David Quessenberry's job at that point, and Dennis, for a second day in a row not practicing, gives you concern. I am at a 6 presently as far as my levels of concern, of fear, of whatever, mostly for the sake of Tannehill, because I saw what happened to him against the Steelers. The Bengals are not the Steelers, but Geno Atkins, wherever he plays on that front, mostly from the interior, but he can get matchups against the tackles too, and he's got great leverage because he's a smaller, stouter guy, but he's always been exceptional at pressuring from the interior, and they can move him around the front. Geno Atkins will give the Titans fits if they do not have not just Taylor Lewan available, but Dennis Kelly either. That's why I'm sitting here at a 6 saying, man, if you run out there with Ty Sambrayo, well, you can only keep so many tight ends in the block, and it starts to inhibit what your offense can do. You saw less from Jonnu, less from Ferkser. Pruitt is a blocking tight end first and foremost, but you saw substantially less production from the tight ends because they had to be held in the block to keep the Steelers from eating Ryan Tannehill alive. And for the most part, they didn't help all that much because TJ Watt and Bud Dupree are really good players, as are Cam Hayward and Stephon Tuitt. Although I saw a lot of Roger Saffold's body of work from that game. I thought Roger was great on the left side of the interior. Scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you if you run out there with Ty Sambrayo at the left tackle and David Quessenberry at the right? Daniel Steinman is more concerned about the third down defense. Will Dodson Jr. is a fence sitter. He says a 5. Jeff Sawyer going up on me by a half a point with a 6.5. World's fanciest paperweight, says Buckethead, talking about my Ashton billboard. Pruitt, says Chris Fraser. Who is Pruitt? What are you talking about, Pruitt? Michael Pruitt I'm talking about Stephon Tuitt, not Michael Pruitt. Stay with me, Chris. Come on. Neither is Wilson, says Ronnie Steen. Yeah, Wilson's not going to factor into this. He's practicing all week. He was a full participant in practice Wednesday and Thursday. He will likely, assuming nothing happened to him today, after the media was shooed off the field, he will likely be a full participant tomorrow. And I still don't think that's enough to give him the starting job. I think that Isaiah Wilson would harm you more than he would help you if you were to trot him out there right now. And so I say to you, David Quessenberry is your man on the right side if Dennis Kelly cannot go. Now, David Quessenberry, we've seen him catch a touchdown pass. Last year, I think that was against the Colts or the Bills, with David Quessenberry caught a big man touchdown. Arthur Smith's good for dialing those up, but can he hold up in pass protection? Will he be able to run block against not a great Bengals defense, but one that's good enough to give a practice squad offensive lineman issues? Donnie Atkins Jr. on YouTube says Nate Davis has been playing well also. You know what I love about Nate Davis at right guard is you don't notice him. You don't notice him, which is great for an offensive lineman. You don't want to notice him. It means he's doing his job. Going to get Riley Reif or Reef makes a ton of sense since Wilson looks like he'll never be ready to play. Ronnie, I don't know that he'll never be able to play, but I will say to you that it's going to be a lot longer for him. Where is Wilson? Where is Waldo? Did he forget his Tylenol again, says Robert Deerfish. No, he's there. He's practicing. He's just not he's not ready. I know that's not enough for you guys, but he's just not ready. I say, put me on the line, Buck Rising. I am 5'5", 135, a disabled vet. That should go well. Daniel, you are a braver man than I, and that is why, and thank you for your service. Perhaps we would save you from having to serve on the offensive line, considering it sounds like you've been through enough, but we don't want to see you do that. Could Saffold not move to right tackle, says Dusty? Yeah, I mean, he could, but why? Why do that? That's like moving Dennis to the left side and making somebody else play on the right when Luan went down. You don't want to take away from two positions to substitute for the one that you've lost. That's never been a smart idea unless you're really, really desperate or you don't know what the hell your offensive line is doing. And Roger Saffold's great at left guard. Don't mess with that. Do not mess with that. You're just going to give it's just going to give you guys a reason to beat up on him when things don't go perfectly for Roger Saffold at right tackle. Roger Saffold's played left, he's played right, but he's best at guard. Do not remove him from the position of strength just because you're trying to overcompensate at tackle. It's not the right move, especially for this game. Wasted a draft pick on Wilson, says Chris Jones. We'll see how that goes. I'm ready to see Deontay Foreman get the rock, says Sam. He's on the practice squad. I don't know why Deontay Foreman would matter into this at all. I don't think that's a thing. Don't move, Roger, says Easy. I believe we should be fine this Sunday. Well, I don't believe that. I mean, believe with caution, right? Because Burrow's killing it. We had Spiro Dides, who's going to call the game for CBS on the radio today, and he said, Joe, he did the Bengals-Browns game last week, and he's seen a couple of the Bengals games this year on from calling them for CBS. He says this dude looks like young Andrew Luck. In fact, he looks ahead of Andrew Luck, and you know what Andrew Luck has done to you for so many years. Don't sleep on the Bengals, and don't sleep on this quarterback. What's the word on Adoree, says Jackie? He practiced again today. They've yet to activate him off IR. He's still designated to return at this point, but they still have a week and a half worth of window if they decide that they don't want to put him out there against Cincy. But you could use him. I promise you that. Wilson was the pick that fell to us. We had to take him there. I don't know why that is so hard to understand, says Titan Rick Sanchez. This isn't a trap game, but we need to set the tone with the run game, Alex Wolf says. I was hoping to see Evans some more at running back to spell Henry and keep him fresh. Well, he's on IR, so that's not going to happen. True, Burrow isn't a donkey in Spanish, says he. Yeah, no, he's much better than the donkey. And he appears to be better than rookie Andrew Luck, which should scare the holy hell out of you if you're a Titans fan. Let's move on to more positive things. Let's put a bow on this show and a bow on this primetime week, although we are not yet tired. We got a lot more show to do. Let's move on to This Is a Free Site, the best thing that I saw on social media this week. And in fact, I should give intern Reed credit because this was the best thing that he saw on social media this week and brought it to my attention. This is a free site, our final segment of the primetime week. What's the worst thing you'd be willing to do for a win? Let me know on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch TV, wherever you consume us. What is the worst thing you would be willing to do for a win? A win it could be pickup basketball, it could be rec league soccer, you could be a part of the Mighty Drunks Hockey League at the Fordyce Center. What is the worst thing you'd be willing to do for a win? Let me know. Or This Is a Free Site video that we will get to you here in just a second, right after I remind you about our friends at Tennessee Heating and Cooling. 10hc.com, TENNHC.com. That's where you go for satisfaction guaranteed on all of your HVAC needs. They will do anything. They won't do bad things like I would do to win, but they will do anything to guarantee your satisfaction on your HVAC service. Make sure that you make the right choice with our friends at Tennessee Heating and Cooling, 10hc.com, TENNHC.com. Tell them A to Z Sports sent you. This is a free site. What's the worst thing that you do to win? Kyle Larson, best thing I saw today, says Lewis Chesney. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Watch JJ play 10 yards off the ball in the red zone for the 10th third down of that drive, says Jackie. Just breathe a little, Jackie. We're not there yet. For a win, I put myself on the Titans line and be the tackling dummy, says Daniel. Ask Texas Terry, says Lewis Chesney. I don't know who Texas Terry is. Well, we didn't need to tackle that badly. Says Shorno, because the guy we picked isn't even active on game days. Well, no, but the practice squad offensive lineman would be. Go over the middle to catch a slant, heading straight at Rashaan Evans only, Mike says, if it guarantees a win. I will grill shish kebab. Ooh, I love shish kebab all day for my Titans players, says Easy. Depends on the win. Bengals win, I'd kick your dog. Super Bowl win, I'd kick my dog, says Kyle Harkis. Well, I don't have a dog and I don't like dogs. So, you're not going to – I don't kick them. They're obviously, I'm sure, lovely creatures. I'm just not a fan. That was funny today with Paul telling Coach Vrabel, congrats on his good mood, says Paulie D. Yes, but you know what was funnier? This video that comes courtesy to us of I want to make sure I get his name right, Lee Kuroami, and I'm sure I've mispronounced it. Regardless, he brings us this week's This Is a Free Site video, because it seems that if you are a hyper-competitive parent and you have children, I do not, so I don't know how this goes, but some parents can be a little over-competitive, and sometimes it can bite you in the ass, especially if your kid is competitive too.
Let me see. Do it again.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Snuck that one in. Let's go. You don't get another one.
Smack that.
Let's go.
Smack that.
Let's go.
Oh. Man, boy. Stop him.
Turn away. Go.
Come on, baby. Get up and running. Stop.
Yes.
This little man said, no, Pops, you're not going to block me anymore. This is a free site. The best thing that I saw on the internet. A nut shot for the win, because Dad just couldn't let the little man get a shot off. I respect the holy hell out of it. I would cheat my ass off to win at any cost. So I am not above anything. You guys should know by now, if you've hung out with me long enough, that I am not above the sewers. I'm born from the Twitter sewers, so you guys know I get down and dirty every once in a while. But I would be like this young man. I would take it right to the rack. I would smack Dad in the nuts, and I would say, no, enough of this. Nuggets, says Michael Miles. Chandrell, oh, damn. LMFAO, says Shorno. Indeed. One more time for the people. What would you do? What's the worst thing that you would do to win? This little kid, turns out it was a nut shot on Dad.
Let me see. Do it again.
No.
Yeah. Shit out of here.
No.
Snuck that one in. Let's go. You don't get another one.
Smack that.
Let's go.
Smack that.
Let's go.
Oh. Man, boy. Stop him.
Turn away. Go.
Come on, baby. Get up and running. Stop.
Yes.
It's the celebration at the end for me. Robert Deerfish said, the best part is the yes at the end. He did push-ups before that nut shot, says Buckethead. Fantastic. A tremendous victory for all of mankind. We will not be held down by people that are bigger than us. We will not allow people that are, 3 foot taller than us to swat our shots. We will bring them down to our level and just take a fist right to their jewels. It's one of the best things. It's not one of the best things. It's the best thing that I saw on the internet today. So shout out Intern Reed for the This Is a Free Site video. You can follow Intern Reed at Besh, please. Titans for Life said that kid would be dead in my household. No, Long live that kid. It was tremendous, and I love to see it get done. What I love to see get done is this primetime week, but I'll tell you right now, I'm not tired yet. I have done a radio show. I have sat through a day full of meetings, a day full of Titans player and coach Zoom calls. I took my girlfriend to urgent care. I did a 2-hour radio show, a podcast with Blaine Bishop and Mark Mariani, and now a full week of primetime shows. But damn it, I'm not tired yet. We got more stuff to do. We got Titans practice to cover for you tomorrow. Subscribe, rate, and review to the A to Z Sports Podcast Network for a really fun time that Blaine Bishop, the Hitman, Mark Mariani, and myself had on today's 615 Sessions podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Have a tremendous and safe Halloween weekend. Those of you traveling to Cincy, I wish you well, and I wish you great success, great fortune in the wars to come, as they say in Game of Thrones. But damn it, we're not tired yet. We got more radio to do. I'll talk to you tomorrow from 1 to 3 with Mickey Ryan on 104.5 The Zone. In the meantime, fam, peace and love. But I'm not tired yet.